In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad, good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes the world's small annoyances, breaks them down, spins them around, adds a little bit of vodka, some dry vermouth, and a garnished with an olive, pours out something which is quite simply better. Today I'm joined by screenwriter and author Gary Goldstein. Hello Gary, how are you?
Hey Geoff, how are you? I'm in Los Angeles, you're all the way in England.
Look at this,
we're a world apart.
Meeting, well, a world apart, but so close.
One screen.
One screen, one dream. That's
it.
I hope you're ready for a good old rant. Please take it away. Let us know what we're going to make better today.
Well, my topic today is spam callers. I don't know what they're called around the world. In the United States, they're often called spam callers, junk callers. Essentially, if you have a landline, which fewer people have nowadays, but I still have a landline, and often on your cell phone you do get these spam calls, but for some reason it's easier for them to contact you through landlines. I guess I don't know. I don't know how it works, but they're able to nail you that way. And what they do is, then this has been going on forever, and for some reason, one of the many things that has never been able to be accomplished in terms of peeling away these calls that are kind of foisted on you, and it's so annoying because they always call it the worst time. And if you're like me and you're a writer, you always think, oh, the next call is going to be meaningful, and I never know where it's going to come from. And I see these weird area codes. Oh yeah, maybe I submitted a script or something to somebody in Canada, and maybe that's the area code. And you pick it up, and it's a recording, asking you to renew your car warranty. And and the thing is that the crazy things are that there are two ways of doing it. Now I have to say I'm really fortunate because I got my old landline phone broke, and I had to get a new one. And just finding a phone, a telephone nowadays here is very difficult. A physical telephone that you plug in, whatever. Although this phone is connected to the internet, but it's still not a cell phone. So that was the big thing, just even finding one of those. I could rant about that, just you can't find anything in stores anymore, but whatever. But I did find a good, I don't know what it is, a Panasonic or something. And it has this cool feature where you can block spam callers. So you see the number coming in. Now, lately, for some reason, on my phone, if a number comes up and it's a spam caller, it'll say spam risk. That's the ID of it, okay? As opposed to your friend's name, it says spam risk. And there's this guy named Spam Risk who keeps calling me all the time. So I have a feature on the phone where I don't have to pick up the phone. I just hit block, and you hear a little beep, and that phone number is blocked, right? So you figure, cool. So I won't hear from this person again. Well, that's good, except for the fact that most of these callers, it's all, I don't know technically how they do it, but it's all automated in one way or another. It's not like somebody sitting at a phone punching in your number from across the world, and then, oh, I didn't get that. Oh, let me try another one. It's just all automated, and they're sending out a billion of these at a time. You have no power over this stuff. So what they do is they repurpose numbers. So they may call it a company or whatever they are. It may call in on one number to sell you, a car insurance, or a car. The big one is that I always get is, and these are usually live people. Hi, I'm Jane, and I'm calling from Joe's Builders. And we're following up with your request to call us for home construction. Or do you have any projects that you need? It's like, first of all, Jane, I never told you ever. Nor would I ever. I have a contractor I use. You please take me off your list. And generally, these people, they know that you're annoyed, and they don't want to get into it. They just hang up. They never say, "Oh, sorry, we'll take you over." They just hang up. which is even ruder because I'm picking up. I'm going to the trouble of picking up. Usually it's during dinner time. And again, I'm so afraid I'm going to miss that key call that's going to change my life. And I pick it up, and it's a recording about from I get a lot from the cable company, which I don't even think it's our cable company. You get tons of them. It's just crazy. But the ones I hate are the ones where they're telling you, you called them, we're following up. No, I didn't. And no, you're not. You're just reading. Oh, and then you get these things. Well, it's funny. I have the craziest thing I've gotten lately is I wrote a book. I wrote a novel that came out last year. I have a new one coming out this year. And somehow or other, you get on, I don't know what kind of promotional list, but I get these calls from overseas, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's Philippines, I'm not sure. And they're reading a script, and they're saying to you, they're reading the script and saying how much they enjoyed your book and how they have promotional opportunities that they can get you on the New York Times bestseller list for your book. And they're reading all of this, and there's no nuance to anything they're saying. And like, and so, well, you didn't read my book. What's my book about? We loved it. It was very good. So you get a lot of that, and eventually, I just hang up because it's all scams. Anything, from a serious point of view, anything really important, you get a lot of these calls that say, your credit card is overdue and we're going to be closing your account if you don't pay up immediately. And, it's some kind of scam maybe to get you to pay. And then it goes into their pockets, not American Express or Visa. But the truth is, anything really important, you will get an official, usually even get to this day, you still get snail mail, from credit card companies when there's an issue or something like that. So, it's just ridiculous. They just think you're really stupid. And I guess a lot of people are because they keep sending, they keep calling, and billions of people, answer. Now, unfortunately, when you're dealing, with these calls, that they do prey on the people who are much older, people who, maybe English is not the first language, anything where there's any vulnerability at all. And that's really terrible. Yeah. And I'm not really sure why, federally, we haven't been able to stop this. I know there've been a lot of tries at it, but it's just too big to stop. It's really crazy. But it's very annoying. They always come, like I said, they always come at the wrong time. And I've gotten pretty good at not, because I don't get a lot of calls, really meaningful calls on my landline anyway. I kind of have to have one. Where we live is very hilly, and so sometimes the cell service isn't 100%. It's usually good, but sometimes it's not 100%. So we need it. It's now I bundled everything, so everything's so cheap to have an extra line or whatever. But they still call at these weird times, and it's always like, oh well, it's dinner time. Well, I better get it. You never know. Maybe it's whoever. And then it's always that same thing. So it's very annoying. I get more exercise just from getting up to go to the phone, when I don't need to, than just about anything. It just bugs me. It really does. And there's no end in sight.
Do you know what? I can tell that this is the conversation that you've been waiting for. I can tell the kind of passion that's got in.
Nobody to yell at about this. There you are.
That was amazing. I mean, and the thing is as well, like like I say, you're in America, I'm in the UK. We have exactly the same. I mean, no one's ever called me about my book. I mean, even too pointless for them. But we get exactly the same. It's either these automated calls of, hello, you have this is your bank, please tell us X, Y, and Z. And half the time it's not even your bank. It's not even affiliated to. And that's what they do. It's a numbers game. And I'll let you go. This is kind of a bugbear of mine. And even when I was, I will let you in. Not many people know this. When I was 23, I spent 6 months working in a call center selling credit cards, or trying to basically being someone who just calls up people, generally when it's during popular TV shows like EastEnders. I don't know if you're aware of EastEnders. Kind of hugely long running UK TV show. It's always at the worst time. It's at dinner time. It's during the World Cup, football World Cup. That was a no.
They know you're home watching or somewhere.
Got met with some massive resistance on that one. But all it was, they buy the data. They buy these kind of huge lists of telephone numbers. And then you sat at your computer, and yeah, we were all nice people. We weren't kind of these sharks trying to diddle anyone. We were just there trying to make a buck. And but you realize what happens is the reason, and it's also the reason why sometimes you pick up the phone and it goes dead, is because all these numbers do is they churn out, and the first person who picks up, they get through, and then the either the automated or the real person kind of kicks in, and you kind of do your whole script, and then they get hung up on. So I have a slight bit of sympathy for the real people who have got a real product. But what I hate even more than I appreciate these people is those, as you said, they go through and they don't give you a minute like an in. So they say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Goldstein. My name's Geoff. I'm calling from X publication. You showed some interest in signing up for this, and I'm going to keep on talking, literally, and you're going to say no at any point, but I'm not going to let you say no. So what I'm going to do is keep on talking, just so you can't have the opportunity.
Right over you. Just keep talking, yeah, as if they can do out of it.
And then they finish off with, "So, am I okay to proceed?" And it's 5 minutes, and you're like, "No," and I could have saved us both time.
Yeah, well, if you start ranting on your end and you say, please take me off your list. I'm not on any list. You don't know who I am. If you start going, they generally just hang up, and I don't blame them. I don't want to hear me either. There's no win there, and they know when there are people who they really are not going to get. But I think if they can just reel people in a little bit, and somebody can say, "Okay, well, tell me about this offer or whatever." And we do get a lot of contractor calls. I'm sure maybe it goes through, I don't know, when you buy things at Home Depot or any of the home improvement stores, maybe somehow the phone numbers get out. I have no idea. But that's the joke of it, because they're always saying, well, we understand you need work and all that. No, and then I forgot to mention with the spam risk thing that comes up on the phone, on the caller ID. Once in a while, I'll hit I'll hit the block, and then I'll get a call from like somebody I know right after that and say, "What's wrong with your phone? I just tried to call you, and I got blocked." And I said, "Oh, that was just a little glitch I was not prepared for."
Yeah, no, you're right. I like the idea of something that does tell you. I mean, we just moved away from the home phone altogether, so we've got something for mobile phones or cell phones, and we realised the only people that were calling us were spam callers or our parents.
Who might as well be spam callers, right?
who might as well. I mean, my mum refuses to text, but will email. So that's always a spam. My mum would leave me an answer phone message, even though she knows every single time I've just missed a call, I will call her back. So to me, that is a spam call. Leaving an answer phone message these days is almost as bad. I don't care who it is.
But you just don't get many of them. I mean, that's the bottom line. Things have changed so much.
Yeah, I'm going to send back. And the thing is with the spam call, it's moved on as well. So it's evolved from the good old people from opening the phone book and calling through, trying to sell Tupperware and anything like that. And then move through to, they say, automated and people just trying to sell anything and everything. You now get text messages and you get emails. Somewhere there is a prince of a country desperate to give away $9 trillion in my bank account. And one day, that money will be found, and I'll be gutted that I didn't say yes.
I know. Well, you do get a lot of, I feel like I get much less email spam these days. I guess now we have enough filters that we don't get them, but I have a spam folder, and every morning I open it up, and I've usually got 3 or 4 junk emails. I don't know what they are, but the ones where they're asking for money is where they start, "Dearest Gary." It's like there's some place where they say "dearest" instead of "dear" because it's just, I don't know what it is. So that's a fake. I got an email. It's tricky. I know we're going from spam calls to spam emails, but this was kind of a good cautionary tale. I got an email from one of my neighbors, and it said, "Gary, maybe you can help me. I was sending my nephew a PlayStation, and my credit card wouldn't go through. Could I just use your credit card and and then I'll pay you back, and whatever. And I'm like, first of all, you don't have an nephew. I know you don't have a nephew. You've never, my neighbor in a million years would never ask me for money. So then I look at her email address, and it's the exact same email address, but there's like the number 1 after her name.
Yeah.
And so, and on as a Gmail or whatever. So, you can create any one that you want. And I never even realized it, because it looked, the last letter of her name looks like a 1. It's an L or something that looks like that. So they just put a 1 there, and I never even noticed it. And that was very tricky. So, and then I mentioned to her that
detail.
and then I mentioned to her that I got this email, and she says, I think I was hacked. Which is really, hacking. It's so unfortunate. I mean, that's just like, I don't know. Here we are just trying to live our lives, and you have to do so much sometimes just to get back to where you started. You don't even end up ahead. You just have to get back to where you started. Hacking's a whole other podcast. But
yeah, it's similar though. It's people, I don't know, using deception and criminal means, or okay, not always in kind of, because it's phishing, isn't it, with the spam calls, phishing with a PH, where just trying to see who will snap. I mean, we get at least once a week, or once a month, we'll get a phone call from my father-in-law, who's ranting and raving about my mother-in-law. What's she done now? I don't know. What's she done now? She's done something. I don't know what it is. She hasn't paid her Netflix account. I owe Netflix £120. Why do I owe Netflix £120? Yeah, and the answer is, you don't, because first of all, you don't have a Netflix account, so they can't come to you for money. Netflix in the UK is $9.99 a month or less, depending on your plan. And it's not from Netflix; it's from Netflixy or Netflix. And they refer to you as your email address, not your name. I said, I appreciate. Yeah, he's older. It's a whole nother generation that didn't have to deal. Yeah, I suppose the biggest thing they had to worry about was, I don't know, trying to get rid of someone, a door-to-door salesman who wouldn't leave. That's exactly.
Well, we also, I don't know if they have this over there, but we have, these aren't spam callers. They're really, I don't know what they're called, prank callers or whatever. But there's a whole thing where older people are often called, and they're told that their grandchild is in danger, and they need to drop off, $2,000 by noon, and
suddenly
people, they're just frantic, and they feel like, oh my God, something's happened.
Horrible.
And and then they'll call their own son or daughter and say, is everything okay? Oh yeah, everything's fine. So, but I know a number of people who have actually started the process of getting the money together and all of that, because they're so petrified about what they're saying. They're not saying your grandchild's been kidnapped, but they're saying that, they need this money. They're in trouble. They're in jail. I'm calling for them, and again, you get people who are susceptible, and if they happen to be much older, or just really not fully paying attention, or low information talkers, callers, but it's just, it can be very, very dangerous, and that's where it really gets bad. I mean, I really hope those people are being taken care of, because that's really bad.
Yeah, there's a very special place put aside for people like that. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the world of it's been going on for so long now. This kind of world of spam calls, spammy, all these kind of that we just kind of put up with it now. It's not like the world's, there's so much other, I don't know, criminal activity or antisocial activity going on in the world at all levels of society, that I feel like the spam calls are just kind of slowly going, kind of getting away. The I suppose phone networks, or whoever, the ombudsman, whoever is in charge of trying to deal with these things, have probably got more.
Well, the spammers must be making money. I mean, they have to be making meaningful money somehow to keep doing this, because they're probably flirting with illegality somewhere along the line. I mean, they're probably smart enough to know what is illegal and what's not. But you always feel there's something somewhere along the line they've messed up, and they've done something illegal. But it is kind of amazing that it continues and people get away with it. And they're just crafty. They're just so shrewd how they do it. Here, the exchange on my phone number is 654. So that's the first 3 digits of my phone number. So I will get many spam callers that begin with 654 because you think, oh, it's one of my neighbors calling, because everybody in our neighborhood has that 654. So you think, oh, well, it's somebody from the neighborhood calling, and it's not. But they know to do that. Oh, and then they pick up other people's phone numbers. So you'll get a name that comes up, a name that you have no idea who they are, Joe Schmo, and it comes up. That's the caller ID, and that's one of the ways it's not. If it's a name you don't recognize, and certainly a name, and then or an area code that you don't recognize or something. And most of these, very often, these are from area codes that kind of don't really exist in the real world. I don't know what how they do it. So there's enough at this point where people know not to pick up or to hang up or to block it. It's just the annoyance factor more than anything that really is a problem. And I've been in the shower where I've had a run out. I've been sitting eating dinner. I've been in the middle of 2 things, and often, and what happens is, maybe it is a legitimate call, so you get up to check it, and then you've gotten all the way up, and it's not. It's a spam call. So that's just doubly annoying. But they don't. It's
good exercise.
It's good exercise to get a lot more steps every day, for sure. And sometimes, like it's often during dinner time. Sometimes it's once in a while. It'll be very early in the morning. It'll be like 7 o'clock our time, and I don't know where they're calling from, but usually that doesn't happen. But every so often it does, and it's like it makes it even worse. I don't want to hear the phone, a spam call at 7 o'clock in the morning, because you feel it's like an emergency or something if anybody's calling that early. So that's a problem too. But they don't care. No. So that one thing I've learned is they don't care.
They're hoping that they're going to get their money's worth. I mean, I feel like this kind of box you've got, I feel like that could be maybe enhanced a bit. So actually, instead you've got 2 options, or say 3 options. So kind of it's block or accept at the moment, is it? That kind of setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the third one should be something like electrify, and say so if they particularly like annoy you, like just send like an electric charge down. I mean, that technology surely should exist by now.
Well, there should be one button on the phone for block and one for buzz. Just get that person buzzed.
Exactly. Or okay. Or if you're not a violent person, because I suppose electrocuting people could be classed as violence, just a really sharp, piercing noise, or a loud clap, something that just,
or like somebody's seat falls out from under them and they fall through the floor. Just some gimmick, just something to stop them from calling again. They become a little incapacitated temporarily. That's all. That's all we're asking.
Exactly. Or you could have, I don't know, their kind of phone gets taken over and they can't hang up. But then on the other end of the line is just really kind of obnoxious person talking to them constantly. So you kind of take control of their phone, and they just have to sit there and listen to someone for 5 minutes. I don't know, talking about themselves, talking about their views on politics, or talking about their views on sport or something, and they can't do anything for that 5 minutes until it cuts off, and then they can make their next call. Yeah, I feel like we have the technology.
I think it's fair. I just hope in our lifetimes we see it go away. It'll turn into something else, but it would be nice to see this particular thing go away. And like I said, I think spam emails, I'm sure there are a trillion of them sent out, but I know I get, way fewer than I ever used to. So I have a feeling the filters are much better, and maybe they can do the same thing with these phones. I don't know. We can live in hope, Geoff. We can live in hope.
We can. And you know what? Worst case scenario, when the inevitable apocalypse comes and all the electricity in the world is gone, they're going to have to start knocking the door again. And then we'll have them, Gary.
So in other words, you're saying the apocalypse is really our only way out.
It's our only way.
Really a great positive way to wrap this one up.
Do you know what? This may be the first, and only subject I discuss in this podcast where the apocalypse is the only way to sort out the problem. But hey, we got there. Yeah,
we did.
Look, Gary, I tell you what, I feel like that's a subject that 90% of the people in the world will be able to will resonate with them, and the other 10% are doing it.
Yeah.
And one day maybe I'll have a person on this who's complained about everyone who hangs up on them or won't listen to their timeshare offer.
There really hasn't been much. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever read any or seen any news stories about how this operates or anything? It's very underground. It's almost like, you never read anything about how cars are sold, like how cars are sold in showrooms. Here, it's always such a dance and it's so mysterious. They just put you through the ringer. There's got to be like a school where they go to for all this stuff. That needs to be blown apart, it needs to be kind of disassembled, and we need to learn about it. And maybe the same thing, we don't really know much about the spam world. It's very secretive.
Definitely.
Very ugly.
Somewhere in the world there's a 3-story IKEA-sized building that has just got rows and rows of computers sat with people called George calling people any number, just any number they think of, they're dialing it in and hoping they get through.
Right. And you never see them go in. They all go through an underground passage. You never see the people. You never see cars. It just looks like a big storage unit, but there's a lot going on in there.
And every so often, a delivery driver turns up with kind of 1,000 sandwiches. But hey, when the apocalypse comes, they'll all be knocking on doors. Gary, that was I feel, even if it is the apocalypse, we've got there. Please tell me, what projects? I know that there's a book on the horizon. Tell me about it.
Yes. Well, I'm a screenwriter, I'm a playwright, and an author. I'm also a journalist. I do a lot of things in the writing world, but I have a new book coming out October 11th called The Mother I Never Had. It's a family drama about a man who turns 30 and discovers that he has a parent he never knew existed. And it's what happens when as an adult, you're faced with a parent for the very first time. So it's a very, I think it's a story people are really going to relate to in this age of the 23andMe and Ancestry.com app and all of that. It's kind of a timely story about finding your family and finding yourself. I wrote another book called The Last Birthday Party, which came out last year. It's a romantic comedy set in LA about a writer. So that's available. You can check that out. And I also write a lot of feature films and TV movies. I have a Christmas movie I wrote called Lights, Camera, Christmas that comes out on November 5th on the Hallmark Channel. I don't know if you all get the Hallmark Channel in England, but, I think it's pretty, and if it's not on Hallmark, it'll be somewhere. And
I would look out for that one.
Hallmark does have their own app, Hallmark Now, so I think things eventually are available on a stream as well. It's a really fun Christmas movie. I've written a number of them, that's what's happening at the moment. Fantastic,
very busy. Well, all the links will go in the bio of the episode, ready to be shared far and wide. I'd be interested to kind of get a list of other Christmas movies that you've done. So we've in the UK on one of our kind of cable channels, I suppose, known as in the US. There's a Christmas 24 channel where all year round plays Christmas films.
Interesting. I wonder if any of my other Christmas movies have played on there, because they're all sold internationally. So in systems, maybe so.
I'll have a look up and see.
Where are my residuals from England? I don't know. It's happening.
You know what? It's like because the rights were sold by a guy in a call center. So
no doubt. I do not doubt it. They're out to get it. I know it. I just know it.
Okay. No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me.
Okay.
And everyone, we will see you again next time. Thank you very much. Say bye, Gary.
We'll rant about something else. Bye, Geoff. Take care.
Thank you.